What's up, guys? I'm Joe from Blue Mind. We're here with Alyssa, and Alyssa's going to be taking her open water class down in Florida. So we're here today. We're just going to get to know her a little bit, understand why she wants to start her diving career, see where she's been, where she plans to go.
So I want to get into diving because I've snorkeled for many years and I loved that. I never even thought about diving in the past. I remember one time when I was snorkeling, there was a group of divers on the boat, so after they dropped off the divers, and I was so jealous. I was thinking they were gonna have such a great day, and I was just gonna be in the little reefs like 10 feet off the shore.
Right.
And I was like, they're gonna have a great day and be there all day and see such cool things. But that was years ago. I never thought about it again, and then I'm now surrounded by such cool people that go on such cool trips and see the coolest things I've ever seen, and I would love to be a part of it and I don't know, get
Awesome.
into it as well.
Well, a lot of people do go from snorkeling to diving, and when they're snorkeling, they think it's the coolest thing ever until they put the scuba tank on their back, and then that now becomes their lifestyle, and they don't really go snorkeling anymore because anytime they have the opportunity to go snorkeling, they usually will have the opportunity to dive, and 10 out of 10 times they're going to choose diving. You did the e-learning,
Yes.
right? That's good. How did that go?
It was good. It's a lot of information, so I'm excited to try to put what I learned online in real life because I'm more of a hands-on learner than reading.
Yeah, definitely find it easier. You'll start to understand all the equipment a little bit better once we get in the water with everything and start using the equipment. The PADI e-learning is typically a really good tool to use as well. They go really in depth to a lot of the topics that are super important, like buoyancy, like air pressure, the way that your body is affected by everything. So that's really cool. Do you have any questions that are blurting out at you from doing the e-learning at all?
I feel like they explained everything really well. When it comes to the safety stops and things like that, and the BCD, like the equipment, I feel like those are my big questions.
The equipment?
Yeah, so I want to put my hands on.
Okay. Well, luckily we have all the equipment here in our studio to go over. But basically, the BCD is your bread and butter equipment. It holds everything together. Your regulator's attached to the BCD. Most importantly, the tank is directly attached to the BCD. So it's one of the most important tools. It's going to allow you to control your buoyancy, to make sure you're ascending slowly, and being able to control your descent and whatnot, which is awesome. Basically, these are all the different courses that you can take once you're a PADI diver. So we're going to start here at PADI Open Water Diver. Okay, so as a PADI Open Water Diver, it means you're certified to dive to 60 feet. And typically anywhere in the world, you're going to be able to find a PADI facility. You'll need to show proof of certification, or you won't be able to book any spots on the boat or renting the equipment from them. So that's why it's super important. It's also super important to go through the training because similarly to flying an airplane, you wouldn't just get into the cockpit and fly a plane. You'd go through extensive training in order to learn about how to do what you're doing. It also makes it a much safer activity.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things that could go wrong in diving if you're not trained properly, or if you dive without, if you don't dive within your limits, you can run into issues. But typically, if you follow your training and stick to the playbook, it is a fairly safe activity, and not a lot goes wrong typically. The most common thing to go wrong is a diver error. Most people will tend to jump up to advanced open water. So the advanced open water class, that allows you to dive deeper. So you can now dive to 130 feet, which is the end of the recreational limits. Anything below that becomes a technical diving course. You see here, there's also a bunch of specialties listed. So for example, we can pick out the dry suit diver class. If you're diving in a cold environment where any of the wetsuits, which we'll go over, don't work or aren't going to keep you insulated enough, you can dive in a dry suit. To dive in a dry suit, you need to take the dry suit training course because it is a pretty intensive class where you learn how to work with your buoyancy in a suit that doesn't get wet. So you fill the suit up with air to control your buoyancy, and there's a lot to it. So that's one of the many specialties that you can take. There's also another thing in diving called night diving, which is diving after the sun's down, obviously. It's a very scary concept to a lot of people, but it is also one of the coolest classes. Some of the locations where there's night diving, there's actually night diving on the TV right now. Cozumel, Mexico is probably my favorite place to go night diving because a lot of the creatures that come out at night aren't there during the day. So you'll see, extensive octopus, you'll see lobster, you'll see squid, things that typically you won't see during the day because they're not out and about. But it is you can dive one site during the day and that same site at night and see a completely different array of marine life. So that's a very cool class. So if you go through your advanced class, the next step would be to take your rescue class. The rescue class is basically the last limit of recreational diving without entering the professional realm. And as a rescue diver, you've kind of now mastered all of your skills and become a self-reliant diver where you can start to see and help other people. Typically before problems even start, you'll start to notice if a diver's a little bit nervous or anything like that. So the rescue diver class is one of my favorite courses because it really hones in the confidence of a diver. And then after that, you can start a professional career. You can become a dive master, leading dives, but that's way down the road. Have questions on this?
Starting the
these
pool.
Classes? Yeah, starting the pool, exactly. So what's going to happen is we're going to go down to Florida to do your certification class. We're going to spend a day or 2 days in the pool down there, and we're going to go through all of the skills that we need to practice. We're going to be setting up our equipment, taking it apart. We're going to be taking our mask off and clearing it. We're going to be losing our regulator from our mouth and learning how to find it. We're going to go over our buoyancy. So we're going to go over ascending and descending, controlled, making sure we're equalizing on the way down. The following day, we're actually going to get out on a boat and do some other skills that we practiced in the pool already, okay? Is there anything that you're super nervous about or, you are anticipating about doing the class and the skills in the water?
I'm very excited, honestly. I think the e-learning prepares you for a lot of bad situations. I think my biggest concern for my first few dives is being in open water, not the pool, and not being able to communicate with words. I know that there's all the hand signals, but getting overwhelmed or something and not being able to ask you something.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Basically what I tell most people is if you are worried underwater, if you can just tell yourself that as long as the regulator's in my mouth, I can breathe, then we can work through any issues you might have underwater. And believe it or not, it's actually easier to communicate than you would think underwater. The hand signals work great. Also, there's some unspoken hand signals that are just common sense, but there's a really extensive number of different hand signals that we'll definitely go over that can pretty much get to any problem or answer any questions that we have while diving. That's why we spend time in the pool first, though, when it's only 10 feet of water. It's shallow enough where if you have a huge problem, you could just come up to the surface. Once we're in the ocean, we're going to be comfortable enough breathing underwater where we won't have to shoot up to the surface because that will, open the door to different risks. But using the hand signals that we're going to go over in depth about when we're in the pool is really going to help ease your mind, I think. We'll be shooting the rest of the course down in Florida, so you can actually see us in action. Thank you, Alyssa, for being here with me today, and I hope we see you soon.
Hey, what's up guys? It is Travis with Blue Mind Oceanic, usually the guy behind the scenes taking all the videos and everything. But today we have Joe in the pool with our student Alyssa. She's getting dive certified, open water. She's doing a great job. She's got a background in just snorkeling, random vacations, everything like that. So she wants to take it up to the next level and get her dive certification. She sees all the videos that we do. Very impressed by them and everything, and just wants to go up to the next level. We have trips coming up in Cozumel, Mexico, Bahamas. I think she's joining us in Cozumel, which is going to be awesome. I recommend you checking that place out. Great time. They have been doing their training since this morning. Everything's going great. It's beautiful down here out of New Jersey. It is fantastic. Great conditions. I think it's about 85 degrees right now. Where in New Jersey we're at like 25 degrees. Went from snow on the ground to almost getting sunburnt. This is great. And we will be on a boat in Boynton tomorrow. Hopefully we see some nice marine life, some turtles, maybe a couple rays, maybe a couple sharks. She's a little bit nervous about the sharks, but I think it'll be all right. Okay, Alyssa finished her first dive. How was it?
It was really good. After the beginning, it's a little awkward, and then you get used to it pretty quick, and then I had a great time. I saw some really pretty fishies.
What'd you see? What was your favorite part?
My favorite part was I saw a shark, and I thought that would be my least favorite part, but it wasn't that bad.
Solid, solid. Was Joe good?
Joe is an amazing teacher.
Did you feel uncomfortable at all? You're having some issues going down at first, right?
Yeah, I kept floating at the surface no matter how much weight we put into my vest, so finally got the weight figured out and got it even, and I was descending
Awesome.
properly.
Good job.
Thanks so much, Trav.
Tomorrow is another day, and we're gonna do
3
some
and
more
4.
diving. You excited for that one?
Yep.
Still
Really
loving
excited.
it?
Yep.
Awesome.
Even more than I did.
Amazing. Love to hear it. Good job, Joe.
Let's go dive.